In general, language is super important, right? One of the primary distinguishing characteristics that sets human beings apart from animals, or some people would say that set humans, Homo sapiens, apart from other animals. And both of those ways of looking at it have a place in Torah. Regardless, one of the most important defining characteristics that separates human beings and animals is the ability to communicate with articulate speech. Animals can communicate, some more than others, some with, greater degree of specificity than others, but there is no articulate speech outside of humanity, outside of Homo sapiens. The ability to have words, to have language, articulate speech, goes hand in hand with the other big factor, which is the ability to understand abstract concepts. Right? Animals can think, they can know, they can understand, but animals in general understand things that are concrete. Hungry, food, hunt. Thirsty, water, go, drink. Tired, sleep. Cold, shelter. Animals can't think about abstract, they can't do trigonometry because it's not related to anything concrete. They can't think about philosophy, about meaning and purpose, because it's not concrete. And when you look biologically, the two biggest factors that distinguish humans from animals are articulate speech and the ability to understand abstract concepts. And they likely go very much hand in hand and are very deeply related. Both of them are related to the disproportionately larger prefrontal cortex that we have, which both of those things are related to, and they're related to each other. Without articulate speech and language, we wouldn't be able to think abstract concepts. Language, words, communication is extremely important. It's part of what makes us humans as opposed to animals. Functionally, there are no rules about what something needs to be called. The choice of words is arbitrary. The fact that this is called a whiteboard marker, a dry erase marker, and this is called a tissue box, is arbitrary. If this were called a marker and this were called a tissue box and we were all on the same page about it, it would be perfectly fine. There's no issue here. Right? Because the point of language is to communicate. As long as we're all on the same page about what a word means, it could mean anything. If we're on the same page, it's functional, we can communicate, we can talk to each other, we can understand each other. It's all good. It doesn't matter what it means as long as we're on the same page. And what's the proof? A lot of different languages and they all work. There's lots of different ways of referring to every single thing and they're all functional as long as there are multiple people on the same page. It works. When it comes to Lashon Hakodesh, it's different. The choice of words is not arbitrary because Lashon Hakodesh is not just a means of interpersonal communication between human beings. As long as the function of a language is interpersonal communication between human beings, as long as you have multiple people on the same page about what a word means, we're good. What the word is completely arbitrary. Lashon HaKodesh, the sacred tongue, is not just a means of communication between human beings. This is the language that Hashem spoke, that the Creator spoke to bring things into being. The words in the Hebrew language, are vehicles for divine creative energy, and the divine creative energy of God that brings light into being is carried, is transmitted, is communicated by the Hebrew word Or, which means light. So when God said, let there be Or, Yehi Or, let there be Or, visible electromagnetic radiation came into being. Because this word is actually a vehicle for the divine creative force that makes visible electromagnetic radiation, aka visible light, exist. And the structure of the letters in Kabbalah, sometimes we have conversations which breaks down a word and the meaning of the word and the letters and the shapes of the letters, and we can see sometimes how the shapes of the letters actually are a layer of representation of the energy that's being carried by the letters, being carried by the word, and how that relates to the things that the word refers to. It's very real. So the name that something is referred to with in Lashon Hakodesh, it's not just an arbitrary way of referring to it so that we can communicate. This word is a vehicle that carries the divine creative force that makes it exist.